we're now live. We're back. And I think we have everything figured out. There we are. Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
The technology gods and goddesses.
You would think that after all this.
What is it, like a Monday or something?
I think it might. And we lost an hour. I say we lost an hour. I am saying I gained some wisdom.
Well, and I just don't think time is real. So there we go. I mean, why is it real if we just fix it?
Change it and manipulate it.
That's right. So whatever. Cheers. Happy Monday.
Cheers.
This is not vodka.
Water. Promise. Nectar of the gods. Well, really, that's bourbon, but we'll go with it.
Says the Kentucky lady.
That's
and
right.
Let's see, Nori, and here we go again. Yes, all right.
Woo.
Welcome. We're on week 10 of the Enneagram Entrepreneur Interviews, and 2021 is flying by, for better or worse, right? I mean, this year's been what it's been. Some good things, some hard things, so that's life. I'm here today with MK Hennigan, the founder, creator, and owner of In the Curious Kitchen, which is a fabulous brand and a blog with amazing recipes and beautiful creations of cocktails and dishes, and also really fun wares. I like that word, wares.
Yes.
They're like dish towels, and she collaborates with other partners to do these beautiful dish towels and these bourbon kits where you can make a cocktail and bourbon balls. We got all kinds of things to talk about. MK leads with a type 3. We're actually coming live from the Curious Kitchen. MK,
which is actually over
right there. But MK is also a designer. Like you're a interior designer as well, right?
By training. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So every space in her house is beautifully curated, and we are in her little dining nook and have art behind us that is really, really pretty. So enjoy that while we chat.
Absolutely.
So welcome, MK.
Thank you. Thanks for including me in this wonderful series.
Thank you.
It's really exciting. It's been fun to listen to other women's journeys through their entrepreneurship journeys and the different types that you're bringing to the table.
Yes.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And yes, and this is going to be a season of 3s. We have quite a few coming up, and you're kicking it off.
We
so
do have a lot of 3s.
Yeah,
I noticed that on the calendar.
I love it. So, okay. Well, with that being said, let's get started. If you would like to just introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm MK Hennigan, and I started In the Curious Kitchen almost a year ago, and it'll be a year coming up in April, and that's where I, on social media and on my own blog, where I curate recipes that are inspired by my Southern grandmothers. One was the one that was in the kitchen, the other one was the entertainer, so both of my worlds, they really inspired me, and I didn't realize it until I broke it all down, how inspiring they were to all of who I am.
Yeah.
Of course, my mother was a big part of that too, but it really started with my grandmother. So all I do is inspired by them, and I share their love of food and entertaining through my social media.
Yeah, and I think, really you're a creator,
Yes.
Like content creation, product creation, recipe creation, just really, as a type 3, really tapped into that creative side with this new venture, which I think is really, really cool.
It is.
And one thing
I
will tell you, I'm pretty sure that a 3-wing 2, and I'm not assigning a wing to you, but a 3-wing 2, I'm pretty sure is called the hostess. So I would be very curious, no pun intended, as to, as you develop learning more about the Enneagram, what your wing ends up being. I can see a little bit of 3 and 4, actually.
Well, and that's one thing that I had discovered in studying, and you and I getting together, trying to determine what type I was. I'm like, Whitney, I see myself as a strong 3, but then a little bit of 4, a little bit of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's common for people to have both wings.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yep. Yes, that's a great question. And it's all about the heart space. Like, you're definitely deeply ingrained in the 3 space center between the 2 and the 4, which are all 3 the heart center of intelligence.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so what that means is that when you react to stimuli, your first reaction comes from emotion as opposed to thought or body or impulse. For me, it's the impulse. Like I act as soon as I'm responding to stimuli. So with the emotion, the interesting thing about 3s is that they're so busy getting stuff done that they often will ignore their emotions even if their immediate response is emotion because they don't want it to slow them down.
Right.
So
I think I experienced that this morning. Well, I experience it all the time, but I'm very in tune with it right now because of us getting together. And I'm like, yep, that was that 3. That was that. Just push through it, get it done. So I had a phone call with my girlfriend right before we got started, and she said, "Have you made plans for our trip coming up this week?" And I'm like, "No, I've got a whole list of things I need to do, and then I'll deal with that."
Right.
And that is exactly how I function.
That is so funny. Well, and I can relate to that as well, just from like, it's also the 3, so they're the heart space and also the aggressive stance. So there's a heart, head, and body, and then there's the aggressive, dependent, and withdrawing. 3s, 7s, and 8s are all the aggressive stance, which means we are in motion. And, probably a louder voice in the crowd.
For sure.
Fairly unafraid to lead. At least we seem courageous, even if we're just being loud to, compensate for being scared or whatever it is. So all that to say, we're in action, right? And things come at us, and as they come at us, we deal with them. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on. I'll
That's
put it on my list and cross it off and move forward.
Constant motion. So, anyway, all right, well, with that being said, so we talked about your type. So, where are you from?
I'm from Frankfort, Kentucky, which is about an hour and 30 minutes southwest. Is that southwest? Yeah, southwest of where we live, here in Fort Thomas in Cincinnati area. Grew up there and went to college in Lexington, so I didn't move far from my space. And I think Kentucky, you find that people either they stay here, kind of like where we live, but don't go away too far.
Yep.
And it just has my heart, so I'm here.
Yep, you are true blue Kentucky.
I am.
Yes,
I am.
MK is one of my most Kentucky friends, for sure. Like, proudly.
Very proud of the rich history.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's always beautifully represented in your brand through your bourbon recipes and your cocktail recipes and honoring your the women in your family.
For sure. And that's really the South.
Yeah.
So my parents both grew up in North Carolina.
Okay.
In Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And then my dad moved to California, and then he moved within a year, moved to Kentucky, where my mother's family settled. Even though my grandmother and grandfather, her parents were in North Carolina, her relatives were in Frankfort. So that's why they settled in Frankfort. Came to Frankfort for my dad's job. Okay. They could have gone to Lexington or Louisville, but...
And were you born in Frankfort?
I was.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was my only sibling born in Frankfort.
So the roots are truly
for me,
they're
For me, they're Frankfort in Kentucky, and for my siblings, they're North Carolina.
Got it. Cool. Okay. And so we've kind of touched on your business, but can you talk about the core mission of your business? What does that look like?
The core mission for my business is to celebrate the South. And we all know the South does not necessarily have a great lens on it sometimes these days, often. But in the South that I knew, it was very gracious, it was very hospitable, steeped in traditions, good and bad, and really showcasing the female of the South. And so the female for me of the South, the first person I think about was my grandmother, my dad's mom, who raised 5 boys, but worked full time because she had to. My dad's dad died when my father was 4 years old. And so the way my grandmother could support them is that she had to get a job with the Reynolds family of R.J. Reynolds.
I thought that might be who you were talking about.
The Reynolds family.
Tobacco.
Yeah, the tobacco family. And they traveled all over the world and all over the country. And so my father and his brothers were raised by her mother, and they also lived at a children's home in the same town, on the same property where my grandmother worked. So very close. So she had the ability to be with her children, but she had the responsibility as a working woman for another family as well. So she brought in her mom.
That's okay. So I feel very kindred to that at this moment in time.
Yeah.
How interesting is it? This narrative really hasn't changed that much over time, except, you know, in the context of the scale of opportunity for women in the workplace has vastly expanded since her time. But the need to have care and help as a parent and a working woman, and that narrative is really interesting.
It is. And she was a nurse, so she had a college education.
Yeah, okay.
And so, so she went to college, became a nurse, and that was just because that's what she wanted to do. Her brother was a doctor, and she knew that she didn't want to, at the time, sit home and be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. She wanted to work. Well, then life gave her dealt her some pretty tough,
for sure,
some tough cards, and she had to go to work for survival of her family. So I don't know if that's why she found the job that she found or what the case was, but she was certainly a caregiver and the most gracious and giving woman that I knew and have known in my life.
Is she the one that was the hostess or the cook? The
cook, but always her front door was open.
Got it.
She always had pitchers of tea ready at any time. When I knew her, of course, she had stopped working, and she made biscuits 3 times a day. So my uncle lived with her.
That's good eating.
That's really good eating. So my dad was the only boy who moved away.
Okay.
So my other uncles lived there in Winston-Salem, and my one uncle lived with her. He was a veteran of, not sure what war. I'm sure it was World War II, I guess.
Possibly.
I'm assuming. Yeah. I'm not even sure. Probably, maybe
sounds right.
Newer war. I don't even know. Maybe Vietnam. Could be. Anyway, he had some issues from that. And so he lived with her, and she nurtured him, and then continued to nurture her grown children and her grandchildren and their friends. And my cousin drove he worked in college at a beer distributor, and he would come by on his way to another route and grab something to eat for lunch, and that was always fun for me when I would visit, because he's much older than me. But to see him for that time period, but she always had something available for people.
That's wonderful. And so what I'm hearing from that, and I'm extracting this in the context of your type and the influence on your business. So there's a couple of pieces I'm pulling. One is just the preservation of Southern femininity at its finest, right?
For sure.
I think that's really what I'm hearing emanating from your brand. The other piece is really the strength and work ethic that your grandmother you just spoke of had, combined with her ability to make a comfortable space and offer good food, so that tending to the family. So with the other grandmother, tell me a little bit about her.
So she was a stay-at-home mom. Okay. Her role was to raise my mother and my aunt. My grandfather worked. He owned car dealerships. So he was very busy creating that business and running that business, and her job was to raise my aunt and my mother in a home and have dinner ready when my grandfather would come home, and also have a cocktail at the same time. It's no
Those
joke.
were the times.
That was no joke.
And that's Kentucky. Was this Kentucky?
Oh yeah. Well, when I saw it was North Carolina and it was Kentucky as well.
Okay.
It is so funny thinking back about her, and she used her silver, her sterling silver. She didn't save it for a special occasion. She would wash it in the dishwasher. She would only drink the finest bourbon, which today is the finest bourbon is
Pappy's?
Well, yeah, because that's just in Frankfurt, that's what you had. What is it? Not Barton, very old Barton. It's I have it over there on my shelf. But anyway, it's very coveted these days. I can't think of the name of it. And it's that's just what she drank. Because if you're going to do it well and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And so she never thought that you should have your silver in the cupboard hidden away. You should always use it. And you should always use your best dishes all day and every day. For every
Wow.
meal. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So, what was her personality like compared to your other grandmother?
Oh, she and I are very much alike as far as our boldness.
Yeah.
And our that person that just takes a room, and we called her Party Cat. I called her Party Cat, so I'm named after her. So her name is Catherine.
Okay.
And so I'm Mary Catherine, MK for short. And my other grandmother, so my grandmother I was just speaking about with the bourbon drinker, she was the life of the party. I mean, the music would start at a wedding. She was on the dance floor.
Okay, I love it.
Had no fear. She never worried about what other people thought of her.
Yeah.
If she did, she certainly never showed it.
Wow. So to me, we don't want to type people, that's never encouraged, but what I hear are a lot of tendencies that remind me of a type 7, the epicure. She loved her fine things and using them to really savor the taste of life. She loved partying, and she loved feeling the essence of what was going on around her.
She loved attention.
And she loved attention. Okay, all right. Well, okay. So I love that. Like, that's very informative, and it also is great to understand the context of deep influences in your life.
Sure.
As somebody that leads with the type 3 performer or achiever motivation. So I hear a lot of performing with this one.
Very much.
A lot of big energy, like that aggressive stance. And then from the other side, I hear a lot of tenderness and femininity.
Yes.
And so there's that great combination that really created this brand and kind of manifested from you at this point in life. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Very strong women in my world.
That's awesome. And so, I know the answer to this, but if you would share how long you've been working with the Enneagram.
I was thinking of that, knowing that we were going to have that discussion. So you and I got together on this, was around 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Year and a half, 2 years ago?
It was, yeah.
It's probably 2 years because last year was just gone.
And it was in my old house.
It was in your whole, and that's what I thought about.
Yeah.
Meeting with you in your old house before you moved to your new one, and us sitting down and just going through the process. So it's about 2 years.
Yeah, it's been, yep.
That would be a good guess from me.
Yeah.
I didn't mark it. No.
But we were just like eating pizza and talking about the Enneagram.
Yeah.
It was a cold winter night. I remember that.
Yeah. I do. And then we were excited to talk about your new move and all that.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world. So yeah, it was a fun night.
It was fun. And so, but it took you a little while to really pinpoint what your type was.
It did. And I had originally thought it was one type, and then I came away from that time together. And then I called you back and I said, no, Whitney, I think I'm really a 3. We had a discussion about one thing in particular. And that was one thing I love to do is give gifts from my kitchen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you said, is that because you want people to like you back?
Yeah.
Remember that conversation? I'm like, no, I just want to give it.
Yep.
Because I do love to receive gifts.
Yep.
But giving it, I don't expect anything in return. I just want to share it.
Yep.
So that's when we decided that I think the 3 is
right. The type
is your type.
Yeah. So we originally really looked through a close lens at the type 2, the giver and the helper, and then looking at the motivation behind that, which is to be needed is to be loved. That's how a type 2 creates the defense mechanisms in their lives as children, because whatever surrounded them really influenced them to feel like being needed was a form of being loved. So that was the examination at first. Mm-hmm. And then looking at also, MK's had a very successful career in sales as well through large companies like Berkshire Hathaway. What was the name of the crystal company? Waterford Crystal. So, there's a really, really wonderful career behind this brand. And so when we look at it from that context, the type 3 and the performing, and that the type 3 is driven by that external achievement, that success, the accolades. And I know that for everyone, 2020 was like such a reckoning. And so to shift into launching your own brand as a type 3 really is a major accomplishment, because you let go of the need for external approval by really showing your authentic, vulnerable self by putting something creative out there. Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
No.
But I knew that I couldn't, after I was let go from my company in March 30th of 2020, I knew I could not as this person I am, sit there and dwell on it. I just couldn't. I mean, it wasn't just life. Wasn't just this wasn't just happening to me. It was happening to the world. And I had started in the Curious Kitchen in January of 2020.
That's right.
So I put it out there as this Instagram page, and when I would go to the market or do fun things, I would showcase it. Mm-hmm. And we live very close to Findlay Market, a wonderful market that if you're in the Cincinnati area you haven't gone to, please go to. But I knew I wanted to show the world, whatever that world looked like for me, what is so special about where I am locally, and then like I mentioned earlier, the influences I had from my grandmothers. But this March 30th really accelerated that. So I sat on that, and I think you and I talked.
Yep.
You're like, you've got to sit on the ugly, right?
Got to process it.
Yeah, I had to process it. It didn't take me long, I don't think.
Nope.
I don't think it did. I don't remember that side of it because I just pushed that away, right?
Yeah, that's a very free thing to do. Yeah. Okay, we're going to deal. But I will say this. You did do the work. You did process it. You did sit in it. You did. And that's why your brand's doing so well now, because there's not anything holding you back.
Correct.
So to be clear, I want to honor that space for MK and say I witnessed this. And she did process that.
I did process it.
And I also think you were ready. Like, this was like the shove the universe gave you to go do what you're supposed to be doing.
Right, for sure. And it was. And you even mentioned that, I think. And I'm like, you're right. So I made some decisions that I was going to take in the Curious Kitchen, which is the name I thought about one day driving to Nashville. I'll never forget it. I was in my car and I literally had the voice memo on. And I'm like, what am I going to call this? And I'm like, kept saying the words. And In the Curious Kitchen came to be that way. So while I was doing another job, I was manifesting it, right?
You were totally manifesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so after that time of mourning, is what I went through, a mourning of my career, I thought, no one's going to manage me anymore. Even though there was a huge loss of income and security that went with that, I decided at that point no one was going to do that. So then I launched In the Curious Kitchen with the help of some really smart people behind me, Whitney being one of them. And I have a call with the other lady that helped me through all this, Libby Summers. And she helped me develop the brand along with I can't forget my other friend who helped me with the original logo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just want to pause for a second and say a lot can happen in a year, right?
A whole lot.
Yeah. So I mean, the evolution of this brand happened, and as any good 3 would do, MK's been working around the clock on this. She has committed her time to really cultivating this, but from a space of joy, like it's inspired action, which is different than forced action, and it shows.
Yeah, it will, and I hope so. And it's the one thing that is clear on social media is when it's authentic, and it's good, and when it's not authentic, it's not. So I could only give my authentic self because I'm not a supermodel. I'm not, I'm me.
Yeah,
and I'm comfortable in that me when I'm in that forward motion, right? Of that creative space.
Yes. Well, and as a 3, because 3s often.
I'm gonna let Ruby in the.
Oh yeah, we got a pup who would like to join us.
Yeah, so she's scratching.
And her name's Ruby, and she's really cute. So stand by for a second. Here she comes.
Come on.
She's really cute. You want to say hi or just bebop around?
Yeah, she's gonna. Okay. Sorry, Whitney.
Don't even worry about it. Okay, that's life, right? So what I was going to say though is from the execution standpoint in the transition of In the Curious Kitchen, what Lily just walked in. Lily is MK's daughter, and she just is walking in from watching my kids. So this is the interconnection of our world.
Okay, why don't you pick her up. We'll just keep moving on. We'll keep our interview flowing. This is life.
Anyway, that is. Anyway, But what I was going to say is 3s can often move into a space of identification where they really will blend in with any group that they're with to ensure their success. And so what I really like about the space of In the Curious Kitchen is you forced yourself into your world of authenticity,
Yes.
where you don't match up with other people's personalities as a defense mechanism. You're really being yourself. And that's a very self-aware, evolved thing to do for somebody that's so, for a type 3 being so success-oriented, to show up as yourself. That's major work.
It was major work, and that was the help of Libby.
Yeah.
And you along, and you two to do that, to really understand that the world doesn't want to see this manufactured person.
Right.
So I was stepping into a space that I enjoyed and I consumed,
Mm-hmm.
but let me tell you, there was that insecurity of me stepping into it as me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it wasn't an imposter. It was like, who wants to see me?
Yeah.
But then I just decided through coaching, and I'm going to do it. And I just, I opened up the gate and it just came out.
That it sure did. And so with going from that point of where you were to where you are now, what would you say now about how you feel about that? Are there days where you still kind of get back to that space where it's a little scary?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like it's very much a more empowered spot?
It's empowered, but there are times when, especially those days, when I put myself out there, a visual of me,
Yeah.
is when it's intimidating.
Yeah.
And vulnerable.
Yeah.
Again, I have, a view of what I think is, I mean, I'm me, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, it can be unnerving, right? And a little bit of, rocky, what is somebody else going to think of me? And then I'm like, what I would say, but I'm not going to say this on the podcast. But then I get through that much quicker than I would have in the past.
Yeah.
I think much quicker.
That's great.
Much quicker.
And you're human, right? I mean, this is like, it's never, we arrive
For
and
sure.
then we regress, and then we arrive,
Yeah.
and that's like
But
all
I'm
part of the
arriving more.
journey.
But I think I'm arriving more.
That's awesome.
I'm arriving more.
And I see that. I can tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm definitely arriving more. And then I think the projects that I'm working on help that too.
Yeah, so let's
Give
talk.
me that energy.
Let's talk about the projects you're working on.
Lots. So, with the help of many women, one group that I started working with is called the Southern Sea, and it's a group of female entrepreneurs based in the South. So we had the same voice and the same lens, right? So I have continued to meet some amazing women, and one gal in particular, Leslie with Giddy Papery, she and I collaborated on the first of many things, are tea towels. And so she created beautiful artwork, but this is my bourbon ball recipe. So this is a series. So there's a series. We have a Christmas towel, we have a fall towel
With the pumpkin bread
with the pumpkin bread recipe.
Killer pumpkin bread recipe.
And then Easter, we did, Easter's not even Easter, Valentine's, sorry.
Is there an Easter one coming?
No.
Okay. I was getting excited. I have this whole collection.
No, there's a Derby one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby
Of
one.
course, that's right.
Yeah. And so we did a Valentine's towel. So we have a shop full of towels related around representing different holidays where food is important, and it's Leslie's artwork and my recipes.
Yes, I love it. And are they all going to be like dessert recipes typically on your towels, or or is that just what we're seeing so far?
That's what you've seen so far, and I don't know why that is, but I'm trying to stay away from sugar, but it tends to be a very much a
Listen, you're the voice of the South. If it doesn't have butter and sugar,
well, right, it's not.
I guess there's bourbon.
Or bourbon. So bourbon balls. Coming up for the Derby, it's a mint julep.
Oh, there it is. Which can be considered dessert. I mean, depending on.
Could be.
But a mint julep, that's really, really signature to Kentucky and to the Derby.
It is.
That'll be a great collector item. That's awesome.
And there's going to be a mint julep kit that I'm in the midst of producing, which is an extension of this little beauty, which is my Just Add Bourbon kit.
Yep.
And so this kit came about, again, the name, it's Official. It's Just Add Bourbon Official, so it's a separate brand.
Okay.
Eventually, this will spin off of In the Curious Kitchen. It'll live under the brand.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm in process.
Sure. Aren't we all?
Yeah. So this kit's lots of fun and was a great gift to give for holidays or birthdays or whatever. You have a friend that likes to drink bourbon and you want to get a kit for them, and you get one and you
It's an experience.
Yeah, total experience.
Yeah.
Total experience. So in the kit, you get your old-fashioned glass. I'll hand you that.
I love these glasses.
You get cherry bitters, which I have handcrafted in the Curious Kitchen. Boozy cherries.
I like those just by themselves.
Yeah, here's something funny. So I was in Target and a lady recognized me with my glasses. I'm not joking. And she said, "You're from In the Curious Kitchen?" I said, "I am." She goes, "I love the boozy cherries over ice cream."
Oh, yeah.
So she gave me an idea for some content. And then the fact that I was recognized was hysterical.
I was going to say, that's like a significant moment in time.
Oh, for sure.
Like, wow, that is awesome.
Yeah. I was talking to another friend there, and she's like, "Do you know?" And she goes, "That's MK from In the Curious Kitchen." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then here are the accoutrements you need to make the perfect old fashioned.
I love it.
From the sugar cube to the orange to the pick for the cherries and a stir stick. So
awesome.
All in a box and can be ordered on my website.
Awesome.
Along with the other items.
So speaking of, how can people find you?
InTheCuriousKitchen.com is my website, and on Instagram, same handle @InTheCuriousKitchen.
Awesome. And your website's loaded with recipes, right?
Full of recipes. Sorry. Full of recipes. And, sorry again. I thought I was doing a good thing. Hold on. Sorry.
She has a very sassy puppy.
I'm so sorry.
She's really cute. I think you've probably seen, her name's Ruby. She has her own handle, so she's kind of a diva.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. See, it's authentic. There is nothing.
This is it.
There is nothing that I can make up here.
Well, and so, okay.
Sorry.
So we got time changed. It's a Monday. It's fine. All right. So, but back to your website, recipes, and your shop.
And my shop. And I started a new little page called Gift Guides, because I do love to give gifts and I love to receive. Yeah. So I started with Valentine's as a little gift guide for items that I would like or I have from my kitchen. So there'll always be gift guides created around entertaining and in the kitchen.
That's awesome.
Again, if there's more time of the day, I do more, but I think I'm good with what I've got.
Yeah, you know what? That the other thing is like as a threes can like step into the workaholism cycle really easy. I love that you're pacing yourself because you have done so much in such a short amount of time.
There's more to come.
And obviously there's more to come.
Because I didn't even mention more. But we'll talk about that when you're ready.
Do you want to mention the more?
Yeah.
Okay, well let's hear it.
Okay, so if you're drinking if you're having a nice bourbon cocktail, you also want to have a little nosh to go with it, so you can eat and enjoy a snack. So you know my pimento cheese.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone in the area knows it.
Okay, so pimento cheese is in the process with working with our friend Rachel. I'm not there yet, but I'm working with Rachel. I just received a sign off from the state about my label. I didn't have to make but one change, so I was super excited about that.
The nutrition label, right? FDA approval. That's a big deal.
That's
such
a big
pain
deal
in the butt.
And it is, and I was like, okay, one change, I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I'll be able to sell wholesale and ship the pimento cheese.
Awesome.
So I've got my food label. It'll be under Curious Eats. Curious Kitchen, sorry.
Curious Kitchen.
We were going to do Curious Eats, but that just didn't sound right.
Okay.
After we said it out loud. So I've got that branding complete.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to say this, appearing at the Fort Thomas Farmers Market starting on Wednesday, where I'll have some jams and jellies that I've created. I'll have my pimento cheese, bourbon balls. I will not have this go round, but I will as we get closer to Derby.
So farmers market days are coming. So if you're local,
Wednesdays, Fort Thomas Mess Hall.
Yeah.
I'll have my wares along with many amazing other.
You will for like 5 minutes until they sell out.
Well, I hope. That's the goal. So creating a revenue stream after a year is something that's been important. And
that's where that sales experience comes in nicely.
It's hard to not have a sale, but it's also not the original reason why I started.
Right. But it's fun. I think it's fun. I mean, it's so gratifying.
It's so gratifying
to create and for people to be interested in what you have to offer. Like, it's just really a wonderful part of life to experience.
It is. And for me, all my career, I've been the person that's had the finished product in their hand to then sell it. Well, what's really exciting is that I can create it from the ground up.
Yep.
From all the packaging, the branding, everything. So as much as along the way in my career I've been in little conversations about those things, I've never had a full lens on it and be fully responsible. So the janitor, HR, marketing department, I don't know what else. Whatever,
social media
coordinator.
Yeah. I have a list of people that I plan to hire someday.
So all that.
So there's some motivation, right?
Photographer. Content creator.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, well, that's fantastic.
So so the pimento cheese will be there, the kits will be there, the towels will be there. I'm excited. They accepted me into the farmers market because it's a process.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, and you're integrating your business deeply into the community by doing that.
I am, and I want to build that brand. I always say I'm going global, but hey,
you gotta start here.
I know. Start where you live.
That's right. And I have a feeling you probably have some global followers anyway.
I do have a friend in Paris.
There you go. She's already global. I mean, that's marketing. So
and a few guys in Turkey.
There you go. So I mean, you've done it.
Yeah. I've hit that mark.
That's right. Well, thank you so much. This has been fun, and I love the imperfection of this morning because this is real life.
This is.
And I'm very proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and as the three, we love that affirmation.
And I also want to say for the threes watching, I hope you feel inspired and also understand like the importance and necessity of really tapping into your authenticity and allowing yourself to process the emotions and move through your days tangibly feeling and being in the present. And when you do, you manifest wonderful things like in the Curious Kitchen.
Yeah.
So,
and there's needless to say, there was a lot of emotion with every picture I took in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just to get it right and just to make sure it was just perfect and what I wanted it to be. And then one day I was like, this is it. This is it. I can't change this.
That's right. And but we learn as we go. So
yeah, we do.
It's good.
We do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool.
Have a great day.